there is a quiet secret hiding inside the happiest, most purpose-driven children in the world, and it does not come from the best school, the most expensive toys, or a packed schedule of after-school activities. It comes from a single Japanese concept so powerful, so deeply woven into the fabric of everyday life in Japan, that Western psychologists are now calling it one of the most important gifts a parent can ever give their child. That concept is called Ikigai. And once you truly understand what it means, you will never look at your child's daily routine the same way again. Ikigai, pronounced Ikigai, is a Japanese word that loosely translates to a reason for being, but that translation honestly does not do it justice. It is the feeling a person gets when they wake up in the morning and already know why the day matters. It is the quiet fire inside a child that makes them run to their art supplies without being told, or spend hours building something with their hands without ever complaining of boredom. In Japan, this feeling is not considered a luxury or something you find in adulthood after years of soul-searching. It is something Japanese parents begin nurturing from the very first years of a child's life, with intention, patience, and a kind of calm wisdom that, frankly, most of the Western world is only just beginning to catch on to. Now here is where it gets really interesting, and honestly a little mind-blowing. Research coming out of developmental psychology in recent years has started confirming what Japanese culture has practiced for centuries, that children who have a strong sense of purpose and personal meaning show significantly lower levels of anxiety, perform better academically, and grow into adults with stronger mental health outcomes. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that purposeful engagement in children as young as 4 years old was directly linked to greater emotional resilience later in life. Japanese parents did not need that study. They already knew. They have been living Ikigai for generations. The way Japanese parents introduce Ikigai to young children is not through a lecture or a worksheet. It is far more subtle, far more beautiful, and honestly far more effective than anything you will find in a Western parenting book. It starts with observation. Japanese mothers and fathers are famously patient observers of their children. Rather than projecting ambitions onto them, signing them up for every class, pushing them toward high-status hobbies, they watch. They notice what makes their child's eyes light up. They pay attention to where the child's energy naturally flows without any external push. This practice of mindful observation is rooted in the Japanese value of omyari, which means deep empathy and attentiveness to others. And when applied to parenting, it creates something incredibly rare, a child who genuinely feels seen, heard, and understood. Once a Japanese parent identifies a child's natural spark, they do something Western culture almost never does: they protect it. They do not immediately try to monetize it, professionalize it, or turn it into a competitive achievement. If a child loves drawing, they are given time and space to draw purely for the joy of it. If a child is obsessed with insects, that curiosity is fed with books, walks in the park, and patient conversations, not redirected towards something more practical. This protection of intrinsic motivation is absolutely central to Ikigai, because the moment a child's passion becomes a pressure, the inner fire starts to dim. Japanese parents understand this intuitively, and it shows in how their children carry themselves, with a kind of grounded calm that you notice immediately. What makes this even more fascinating is how Ikigai connects to another cornerstone of Japanese life, Kaizen, the philosophy of continuous improvement through small, consistent steps. In Western culture, we tend to celebrate the big win, the trophy, the grade, the performance. But in Japan, the focus is on the process itself, on the daily practice, on showing up. When a child is connected to their Ikigai, Kaizen happens naturally. They want to get better, not because someone is pushing them, but because the activity itself is meaningful to them. This is the combination that produces not just talented children, but deeply motivated, self-directed human beings who carry that inner drive all the way into adulthood. It is also worth talking about what happens to children who grow up without Ikigai, because that picture is not pretty, and honestly it describes a whole lot of what we are seeing in Western societies right now. Rates of childhood anxiety, depression, and what psychologists call achievement emptiness, succeeding at things that mean nothing to you personally, are at all-time highs. Kids are burning out younger and younger, feeling lost despite doing everything right by external standards. Japanese child development experts point to the absence of purposeful identity as one of the root causes, and the data is increasingly backing them up. When a child does not know why they exist beyond getting good grades or making their parents proud, they They are building their entire sense of self on a foundation that can collapse the moment those external validations disappear. Western parents are waking up to this in a big way. Schools in Finland, Canada, and parts of the United States are now incorporating purpose-based learning frameworks directly inspired by Japanese educational philosophy. Parenting coaches are teaching Ikigai workshops. Pediatric therapists are recommending it as a tool for treating childhood anxiety. What Japan has quietly practiced in homes, schools, and community spaces for hundreds of years is now being treated like a revolutionary discovery in the West. And that says everything about how far ahead this culture has always been when it comes to raising truly whole human beings. So here is the ultimate truth that Ikigai teaches us as parents, and it is a truth that will sit with you long after this video ends. Your child does not need a perfect schedule, a prestigious school, or a bedroom full of educational toys to thrive. What they need is someone who watches them closely enough to see their spark, who protects that spark fiercely enough to let it grow, and who trusts deeply enough in the process to step back and let the child lead. That is Ikigai. That is the Japanese gift that no price tag can buy, no algorithm can replicate, and no amount of hustle culture can substitute. And the best part, you can start giving it to your child today, right now, simply by watching and truly seeing who they already are.